So both cameras on.
Okay.
We did.
Mhm.
All right. So three, two, one. Go.
This is not a poem written to depress you. Instead, consider it a memoir of the mistakes of a 23-year-old. I honestly do not know how this will find you, but I do hope that you are nothing close to what is written down here. But whatever the case, I hope this piece finds you in a good place. You see, at 23 years, I had done so much wrong that it felt like I had dug my own grave like Dave. The only difference, I had not fallen asleep to lay in it just yet, but even with a book of life besides me, I felt so dead inside of me. I said, this is a memoir of the mistakes of a 23-year-old. At age 12, the world stole the innocence inside of me. And so, like a dam, I went with the flow, and I know this might sound funny, but I think we kind of have a lot in common with Adam, you know. Because just like him, I graciously and purposely ate from every plate that came with an apple and blamed the serving waiter. But wait, I am not saying that I did not have a choice. It's only that, like Eve, I went in search of a truth that was already inside of me. And so this big body of thoughts sparked a bang that led to the genesis of so many mistakes. This is a memoir of the mistakes of a 23-year-old. I have spent the past 2 years trying to figure out when last I was myself. And I have spent the past 6 months trying to figure out who I am away from what they say I am. And every time I stand before a mirror, no image is formed. I never imagined any of this for myself. I never imagined that at one time I would have to look failure in the eye and say, oh well, it is nice to meet you. I never imagined that one day I would have to shake hands with lust and allow it to become a campus for me in finding my way around a woman. I never imagined that one day I would have to flirt with the future and be reminded of how fast time had gone by with no possession to show for it apart from my potential, because it seemed there was an end date to when I was supposed to become a successful young man. And so, before age 24, I was married to the idea that I would never have to share a table with my four cousins, James's son. Ironically, like a lonely lover, I often found solace in these dear old friends. I meant my dear old friends, because once upon a night these bears sang the best lullabies to put my insecurities, fears, and regrets to sleep, and often I found freedom in their presence. The kind of freedom that prisoners feel when they are standing in front of bars and not behind them. The kind of freedom that gives introverts wings to soar with the rest of the world for a couple of hours until they are hanging on an edge, contemplating whether they should continue taking those long walks of freedom or cocoon back into the identity that is often judged by society. Before age 24, I had given my mind and body to so many women than I could count, because once upon a time I had gotten so used to the sound of pleasure that it had a way of telling me that there was more to life than what scripture foretold, that I was bold and needed to try something new. And so, the first woman that I slept with was Wiz Khalifa's adopted sister. I traced every fiber of her existence, internalized her being virtually till she became a part of me. Then I moved on to the brunettes, the blondes, and the other type, thick and black. I'm pretty sure the gents know them. In my mind, I had made up with so many women that I did not even know who they were. And they did not know that I even existed. I made them my drugs of choice. They became my drugs of choice. I sniffed and puffed up on fantasies and the nakedness of women that had assumed stardom in my mind. I constantly judged and criticized those that portrayed the holier than thou act when they emerged in the community with a growing stomach, pregnant with the consequences of their own actions. Not until I slept with a woman. I judged those that people made a laughingstock of and dubbed them drunkards, not until I held a bottle of alcohol, guiding its mouth into mine, literally watching myself become a synonym of the very version of a man that I judged. I judged those that I thought were enemies of their own progress, those that I thought did not aim too high, instead built homes in unfinished houses, always seeking to get high. I judged those that admitted to dealing with depression and anxiety, not until I allowed a fountain to flow through my eyes, refusing to call them tears when they pecked my cheeks. I judged those that I thought were stuck doing what my ambitions convinced me were average jobs for college degree holders and university graduates, not until my thoughts were handed a manuscript for the realities of life. And so, I guess it's safe to say that I have literally become an oxymoron of everything that I once stood for. I have pushed myself so hard to meet the bar that has been set for a young man at this age. But it's like my mind has built a courtroom around me, and so I judge myself. I don't blame anyone. It's self judgment. All I'm saying is that life has happened, and I think it happens to everyone. And so it's like life has been taking dumps on me lately because it's been shitty. But this is not a poem meant to depress you. It's just a memoir of the mistakes of a 23-year-old. Black matter.